All right, this is solving quadratic equations by factoring the assignment part. So let's go ahead and factor this to x minus 9 times x minus 9 equals to 0. So set each factor equals to 0. So you're going to get x minus 9 equals to 0. So x is going to equal to 9. Okay, select the first one. All right, so for this one, you want to go ahead and set one side equals to 0. So I'm going to subtract 12x on both sides. So this is going to be canceled. So it's going to equal to 0 on the other side. So I'm going to rewrite the left side into standard form. So we're going to be x squared minus 12x plus 20. Okay, go ahead and factor that. Okay, so you're going to write minus 10 minus 2, and then set each factor equals to 0. So you're going to x equals to 10 or 2. So you want to check the last two. All right, so let's check out the next one. So which equation has a solution of 6 and negative 6? So it's actually going to be the last one, because this one you can factor it to x plus 6 times x minus 6 equals to 0. Okay, if you set each factor equal to 0, you're going to get x equals to negative 6 or positive 6. All right, so which solution gives you, okay, what's the solution of that? Okay, so first of all, I want to subtract 6 on both sides, and I want to subtract 22x on both sides. So that's going to be able to cancel the right expression and set equal to 0. So I'm going to rearrange it. So 8x squared minus 22x minus 6 is going to equal to 0. So go ahead and just factor it. So you got 4x and 2x. That's the factor of 8x squared. And then since this is going to be subtracting 22x, so I want to put minus 6 over here and plus 1 over here. Okay, so set each factor equal to 0. So 4x plus 1 equals to 0. Subtract 1 on both sides. So you got 4x equals to negative 1 divided by 4 on both sides. So you got x equals to negative 1/4. So that's going to be one of the answers. Check the second one for that. And then for another one, 2x minus 6 equals to 0. So add 6 on both sides. So you have 2x equals to 6 and divided by 2 on both sides. So you got x equals to 3. So you want to check the third one. Okay, so go ahead and figure out how many times does the graph cross the x-axis. What you need to do is just go ahead and solve for the x. That's going to be your x-intercept. So so one side equals to 0. So all I want to do is I'm going to add 2x. X squared on both sides. That cancels out the negative x squared. I'm going to subtract 32 on both sides. Okay, that cancels out with the positive 32. So I can rewrite this as x squared plus 4x minus 32, which equals to 0, and go ahead and factor this. So you're going to get x plus 8 times x minus 4. Okay, so set each factor equal to 0. You're going to find out that x equals to negative 8, or x equals to positive 4. So negative 8, positive 4, and then it's going to be 2 times, because there are 2 solutions. All right, so when the product of 6 and the square of a number, so that will be 6 times square of a number, and it's increased by 5 times the number. So you're going to add 5 times the number. The result is 4. Okay, so you want to see that you want to subtract 4 on both sides. So that will be 6x squared plus 5x minus 4 equals to 0. So you want to check the first one. Okay, so when the product of 6 and square of a number, so x squared, is increased by 5 times the number, and the result is 4. Okay, so I think this is the same question as the previous one. You just go ahead and solve it, right? So you want to subtract 4 on both sides. So you got 6x squared plus 5x minus 4 equals to 0. And then now let's just go ahead and figure out how to factor this. Usually I'm going to put, just figure out the factors of 6. So you can try 3 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 here and see what happened, and then minus 1. And that's going to give you positive 5x. So that's going to work. Okay, so set each factor equal to 0. So you got 3x plus 4 equals to 0. So x is going to equal to negative 4/3. And then, so make sure you check the first one. So 2x minus 1 equals to 0. X is going to equal to positive 1/2. So check the second one as well. All right, so the length of the rectangle is 1 less than twice of the width. Okay, so which equation do you want to choose to represent the situation? Okay, so first of all, we need to know that width times length equals to 28. Okay, so all the selections here, you want to use width in terms of width. So what you're going to do here is figure out what they're saying here. So length of a rectangle is 1 less than twice of the width. So length of rectangle is 1 less than twice the width. Okay, so you got two equations over here. So you can plug this 2w minus 1 into the L. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this whole thing as w multiplied by 2w minus 1, okay, which equals to 28. So now let's go ahead and distribute the w. So that will be 2w squared minus w, and I'm going to subtract 28 on both sides. So I can set one side equals to 0. So minus 28 equals to 0. Okay, so that's what you need to select for this blank. Now we're gonna have to find out what the length of the rectangle. So the length, we're trying to look for the L. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve for the width first. So 2w and w equals to 0. So just have to kind of play around with the possibilities. So I'm going to add 7 and minus 2. Sorry, minus 4. So that's going to give me a minus w. So so you have 2w plus 7 equals to 0. And w minus 4 equals to 0. Okay, this is going to give you a negative width. So we're not going to be using whatever it's coming out from that from that binomial. So add 4 on both sides. So you're going to get width equals to 4. Okay, so after knowing that width equals to 4, you want to go ahead and plug that into the original equation. So length is equal to 2 times 4 minus 1. So length equals to 7. So put 7 in there. All right, so for the last slide, they said that we want to find out when will the ball reach the ground. Okay, so when you toss the ball into the air because of the gravity, so it's going to come down, right? So for the ground, we're actually going to get two different time. Okay, when ground equals to 0, we got to get time 1 and time 2. We already know that time 1 is going to be 0. Okay, so if you guys find out one of the time is 0, that's not going to be the solution we're looking for, because we're looking for after you tossing the ball and how many seconds is in the air. So we're actually looking for the time 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure it out. So let me erase this. Okay, let's go ahead and solve for it. So ground equals to 0 is basically saying that the height equals to 0. So you want to plug in 0 into the height. So 0 equals to negative 16t squared plus 80t. Okay, so what you need to do next is factor out the common factor. So that'll be negative 16t, and then times t minus 5. So let me put another parentheses over here. So set each factor equals to 0. You're going to find out that t equals to 0. This is basically the t1. That's when the bowl started. Okay, you got another one that's t equals to 5, and this is going to be the t2. Okay, so you're going to select the third one for after 5 seconds. All right, so that's it. Take care, guys.